Hello, everyone. Christian Hernandez here with Sports Video Group. We are pleased to be joined by one of the four teams heading to Dallas for the women's basketball Final Four. It just happens to be Grant Kauvar. He is the SID for LSU's women's basketball team. Grant, how you doing, sir? I know you had a bit of a late night / early morning, so pleased for you to be joining us. But how you doing, man? How excited are you to get down to Dallas?
Yeah, Christian, thanks for having me on. Yeah, we had a late night, some travel issues last night. Got in early in the morning, but we're getting ready to go to Dallas Tuesday, tomorrow morning. So we're feeling good.
You'd
We're
much
feeling
rather
good, getting ready.
you would much rather be have red eyes and be very tired and have to go on a plane than having the season be over. I'm sure I can speak for you when I say that.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I think that plane delay that we had last night was definitely more enjoyable. I don't know if you want to use the word enjoyable for a plane delay, but it was definitely better having won than if we were sitting there having lost. So good problem to have, and we're excited to get to Dallas. I think our fan base is going to travel up to Dallas, and we're going to have a lot of purple and gold up there. So it's going to be a good time.
Without a doubt. So, Grant, do me a favor. Take me back to the beginning of the season when you sat down with your team, when you were getting ready to be with the team and Coach Kim Mulkey to kind of cover right what would eventually become a run to the Final Four. Were there any themes or visions or statements that you guys came up with that would encapsulate what you guys wanted to cover this year?
Yeah, so like we had an external meeting with like myself, video team, photo, video, marketing, everybody's sort of involved in that external communications. And we sat down with the staff and ran through some different slides on a PowerPoint with them, and all questions sort of aimed at what is this team and what's the theme of this team going to be. And at the end of that meeting, after putting all of our minds together, we sort of came up with the theme, Welcome to the Show. Obviously, we're led by Coach Kim Mulkey, who everybody's always looking forward to seeing her outfits, and she's sort of a big personality in herself. And then this year we brought in 9 new pieces. We have 4 freshmen and 5 transfers on the team, and a lot of really big personalities. We have Flau'jae Johnson, who's a freshman. She was named Freshman SEC of the Year. And she's a rapper away from the basketball court. So she has a huge personality as most rappers do. She's awesome. And then we have Angel Reese, who's a really big personality. She was a transfer from Maryland. She was rated the #1 transfer in the country last off season. And her social following has just gone through the roof this year with her viral play on the court. And then, stuff she said on social media about women being able to talk trash on the court, and her being from Baltimore and showing her personality. It's a big personality. And then, we've got the whole rest of the team. Alexis Morris has a really cool story that we might get into a little bit later. And yeah, so we have like just all these personalities and our coaching staff and the players. So we came up with the theme of Welcome to the Show. And really the goal whenever the team steps on the court is to put on a show for the fans and put a product that's enjoyable and talk about that. But then the team internally also had this motto that we've sort of begun using a little bit more in the postseason, which is piece it together. And that's going back to 9 new pieces. And we're going to the Final Four, and that's pretty unheard of to do when you have a roster with 9 new players. Alexis Morris is our only player back from last year that really contributed at all. So their internal theme all year has been piece it together, to just figure out how all those new pieces come together. We also have 2 new coaches on the staff, how they fit in, that Bob Starkey and Coach G. They've been awesome, and just putting all that together. It's been awesome to sort of have it come to light on social media, and really having those themes has driven sort of everything that we've done all year, from graphic design to the types of videos that we're putting out. And I think that allows us to stay on brand all the time and consistent, so our audience knows what we're getting.
Right. And you mentioned videos, and a person in your position in your team, it's kind of cool because you guys are peeling back the curtain, and like you mentioned, you're showing personalities, but also encapsulating and recapping the stuff that happens on the court. So what long form and short form content are you creating for fans either in Baton Rouge, if you're an LSU fan in New York or California and around the country?
Yeah, well, we'll start with short form. And Coach Mulkey, she doesn't do social media herself, but she
Right.
understands how important social media is and building a program. And, recruits see all of that. And it's huge in recruiting to continually get the LSU women's basketball brand out there for them to be able to see, because you're talking about, you know, 14 to 18 years old. They're always on social media, and they're always looking for that stuff. So the short form stuff is really important in what we do. And that could be something like Cupid, the guy who created the Cupid Shuffle.
Right.
He's from Lafayette, Louisiana. He came to practice a few weeks ago, and they gave us, me and Sheldon Lee's our videographer, a call and said, hey, he's going to be at practice. We need to do a video. So doing that sort of stuff, but then also capturing what happens on the court. Every day after a win, he's rocking and rolling with a video ready to go of a recap from last night that has all the cinematic highlights, and it uses the call from our radio broadcast. We have Patrick Wright, who's our radio play-by-play man, who's been doing this for forever, since he was a student at LSU. So this will be his sixth Final Four this weekend in Dallas. So that's really cool for him. But our fans really look forward to being able to see those cinematic recaps. And just in sports, as you know, it's so much of it is spur of the moment. Like in the Sweet 16, LaDeja Williams had her best game at LSU. She's one of those 9 new pieces, and she had a season high, I think 24 points, and was huge in our victory there to advance to the Elite Eight. And Sheldon was able to turn around a quick video for us to post the next day just about her big time performance. So definitely a lot of short form stuff that we're able to just keep pumping out to our fans, and they love all that, because with all the personalities, you're able to give that curtain or pull back that curtain and show them the personalities of this team that obviously they see on the court, but then we're building their brand on social media too. Long form wise, over the summer, LSU, we started what's called LSU Gold, which is a subscription model of long form video. So a lot of our sports, actually women's basketball included, has a series that's sort of been following the teams all year. And our series is called Piece It Together. The most recent episode that we did, which aired after senior day, was about Alexis Morris and her journey from knowing Coach Mulkey from when she was 12 years old, getting recruited at Baylor to play for her, being a Big 12 all freshman team member with that team. And then, just struggling like some young kids do, ended up getting dismissed from the team by Coach Mulkey. And then that landed her at Rutgers. She transferred to Rutgers, where she's a Texas girl. Now she's in New York. She didn't really find her place at Rutgers, and battled some medical stuff there, and just the psyche of being away from your home state. And she was there for a couple of years before she went to Texas A&M. And at Texas A&M, the team had a lot of success, but she wasn't really on the court a part of that success. And I think she would tell you she sort of was falling out of love of basketball. And that's right when Coach Mulkey got hired to be the head coach at women's basketball for LSU. And in that Piece It Together episode, she said she talked to her dad, and her dad said, she said he was adamant, you need to go play for Coach Mulkey at LSU, do whatever you need to do. And she reached out, and she showed up to the first team meeting in Baton Rouge with a duffel bag.
Right.
She just knew she had to play for Coach Mulkey. She likes the discipline. When she was like at Rutgers, she sort of realized why she needed Coach Mulkey in her life, because that program didn't have some of the discipline. It's small things like making sure your jersey's tucked in on a practice court, or making sure you're on time. But she's the type of person that needs that discipline and really likes to be a part of a team atmosphere. And her being away from Coach Mulkey, realized that she needs Coach Mulkey in her life, and Coach Mulkey needed her at LSU. She was trying to come here and rebuild a program, which, I mean, now 2 years, not even 2 years after she's been hired at LSU, they're going to a Final Four. Like, that's unheard of. But Alexis Morris has been a really key piece in allowing LSU to climb that mountain so quickly. And um, Coach Mulkey always says she could write a book about
Right.
her story. So us just being able to tell a little part of her story was really special. And um, again, just showing the people behind the basketball player, and that's what LSU Gold sort of is for, is showing the stories that you don't get to see every day with these athletes.
Right. It's one of those full circle moments where the kind of the story does the work for you. Obviously, you have to put it all together in a cohesive, I got a cohesive timeline. But it's one of those things that it helps buy in from the fans because they hear that story, right? And it makes you want to cheer for someone and want the team and her to succeed. And it's all worked out well. And before you mentioned a lot of adapting to in the moment and real time, and encapsulating the team, as they go. And the good thing about college sports is that people like to joyfully jab and have a little fun on social media. So I asked you this question. One of your favorite pieces of content that you made throughout the year poked a little fun at someone in the media. So you want to tell that story?
Yeah, well, I don't remember exactly what week it was, but we were sort of climbing. We were still one of the few undefeated teams in the country, and um, could make the argument that we could have been higher in the polls, but with the nature of how our team was put together, 9 new pieces, we didn't necessarily have the strongest strength of schedule in the non-conference. So that kept a lot of AP voters from sort of moving us up in the polls, just because they weren't sure if LSU was legit or not.
Right.
And there was one week that we moved up to number 3, which was the highest ranking that we'd been in a really long time. And there was an AP voter from a team that we moved past, and he got on Twitter and said, LSU, yeah, that LSU moved past UConn in the standings. And Brandon Barrio, who does our social media for football, just does a really great job over there. He sent that to me like 7:30 one morning, and I'm seeing that, and I go to this Google document that I have of all these different Twitter memes, and I'm scrolling through like, what can I use? What can I use? And I come across this one that has a whole bunch of like hand emojis pointing in to the center of text. And I was like, that's perfect. I can throw, yeah, that LSU right there in the middle. And so I quote tweeted him, and it just sort of had a life of its own. Our fans loved the jab that we were able to throw on it. Cody Worsham, who does a lot of digital media stuff for us, hit me up, and he was like, hey, we should put that on a billboard. So our graphic designer, Tyler, whipped up a billboard really quick, and it was running in Baton Rouge, and it's a really great billboard. I'll send it to you, but it's Coach Mulkey pointing right at the, yeah, that LSU. And it's just all about capitalizing. In social media, you can plan out stuff really far in advance, but then stuff happens that you got to sort of be ready to strike like that when it does happen, to be able to seize the moment.
Grant, you sounds like you guys are keeping receipts and now you're having a last laugh and
Yeah,
now
yeah,
enjoying.
we have some receipts. Joe Schwartz, one of our assistants. I guess it's backwards on, but this
No, it
is
looks
the
great. It looks everyone can read it. Yeah,
um
that LSU. There you go.
Joe Schwartz, who's one of the assistants on staff, saw that, and when I saw him at practice later that day, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have shirts printed up with that." And like 2 days later, I'm at practice, and he's bringing in this big old box of shirts with that shirt in it. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. And now our staff will wear that. I know some of them had it on after the Elite Eight game last night when we were flying home.
There you go. It's always about having fun and using it as an opportunity to make light of a situation that could have been a little bit annoying, but that's neither here nor there. Next question for you before I let you go. I have two more for you, Grant. Luckily, on that delayed flight, you kind of had a little strategy meeting about what your workflow will be when you get to Dallas. So talk to me about who's going to be there, what equipment you may be working with and have been working with throughout the season, how you're going to get content on social media. Because once you get down to Dallas, you may be a little bit busy, right? How do you kind of organize it all? And just what's the inner workings of LSU women's basketball social media down in Dallas?
So yeah, I can't really speak to the equipment too much.
Okay.
I just oversee everything, and
Right.
we have a great staff of photographers and videographers that posts everything or puts everything together and records it. But we're gonna have two videographers with us. We'll have two photographers with us, and our graphic designer will be there. So it's gonna be great because most of the year we've always traveled with one videographer and one photographer. But now sort of to be able to have multiple of both, you're able to get more angles, different types of pictures, and it's exciting because there's going to be so much going on, whether that's in the stands or on the court, to be able to capture it all. Because we haven't been to a Final Four since 2008, and we have the number one recruiting class in the country coming in next year. So you'd like to think, hopefully, this is the start of something special. But you also never know. Final Fours aren't easy to get to. So we'll have everybody. Our graphic designer will be in Dallas. So we'll do that. I got to sort of later today just sit down and look at our schedule of events for what we have coming over the week, to sort of, in my mind, think what we need to capture while we're out there. And then I'm sure when we're out there will be stuff that comes up, pep rallies, that sort of stuff with our fans, that we'll have to sort of do something quick. But I'm going to try to have everything out planned in advance and meet with everybody when we get to Dallas. And our team's just been so great all year. We have a student photographer, Kristen Young, who's shot the majority of our games. And like, shoot, man, the NCAA does an NCAA photo of the week. Our LSU picks department is super elite. And then Sheldon Lee, who I mentioned earlier, he's creating all the video. And then Tyler Scheifelbein, I hope I said his name right. He's our graphic designer that does really great work. And so much of it like goes back to that planning meeting that I talked about with the welcome to the show stuff way back during the off season, that we're all just sort of on the same page and everybody knows their role, and we're able to put together really dope content.
Okay. Last question for you, Grant. Take everything that you've done this entire year, right? Starting from that first meeting to whatever transpires in Dallas that could hopefully, potentially, I'm crossing my fingers, and then you guys hoisting the national championship trophy. How proud are you of your team? How proud are you of yourself? And just talk about how excited you are. I know, like you said, 2008 was the last time you got to the Final Four, but to be here, to have the players that you do, and hopefully maybe next year with the first, the number one recruiting class in the country, you're back here. Just talk about what this means to you.
Man, it means so much. And Coach Mulkey talked about it during her post-game press conference last night. Like, when she came to LSU, she came back to her home state of Louisiana, just wanted to do good, wanted to revive that LSU women's basketball program that had been to 5 straight Final Fours, the last one in 08, like you just said. And to do it in year 2, like, it's just been so special. And you think back to like last May when we landed Angel Reese, and you have these really impactful potential freshmen coming in, and you sort of saw the pieces that they were bringing together, but nobody necessarily thinks that you're going to get them all to a Final Four in year 1. So that's been really cool. And one of my favorite things this year, and it's sort of played on the Showtime theme, is how our players are huge on social media, and we've seen a huge growth of followers on our social media this year. And so much of that, I think, can be attributed to them repping the LSU brand and being vocal about them being on LSU. And obviously we've helped them grow their brands, but likewise they've helped us grow our brands. And that's sort of been my favorite part, is like allowing them to sort of become rock stars. When we're at home, they're at the PMAC for like an hour and a half, 2 hours after the game, signing autographs. Shoot, when we're on the road, sometimes we have more LSU fans in the stands than the home team does. And they're doing the same thing there. Like, we were at one place and one of the security people was like, okay, we need to turn the lights off to get these people out of here, because it was like 2 hours after tip. And it's like, that's crazy. Like, they've turned this thing into a show that people want to come see and want to engage with on social media. Like, Angel Reese had about 100,000 followers on Instagram coming to LSU. And I don't know if you've seen the play, but she had this play on January 19th against Arkansas where she lost her shoe.
Right.
And then she's like holding the shoe and she blocks the shot. And that just went viral. It's like one of a million viral moments that she's had this year. You know, she has the SEC double-double record with 32 double-doubles in a season. But since then, like, she has over 500,000 followers on Instagram. She's gone from 100,000 to 500,000 followers. Drake follows her now. Yesterday, before the Elite Eight game, the team got FaceTimes from 2 Chainz and Boosie. Like, that's just, it's been crazy. So I think when you look back at that meeting where we settled on the show, like, it couldn't have gone any better, because that's sort of exactly what it's become. And we've been able to play that up to allow that, but the personalities that we have on our team have allowed that to happen too.
Right. You know, you're doing something right when the players want to get involved because you're helping them out, and internally and externally, they're helping your platforms out too. Grant, thank you for the time, man. I really appreciate it. I know you're tired, but you have a couple more games to play down in Texas. Good luck. Keep in touch, and hopefully you come back as a women's basketball champion. Thanks, man.
Right on. Thank you, Christian, for having me on.